Today, I'm one of the first people in the world to reach Prestige 1 in Black Ops 7, and I'm currently live on Twitch trying to be one of the first people to reach Master Prestige. And today I'm sharing 10 tips that I wish I knew going into Black Ops 7 and things that I've learned so far to help you level up faster. Tip number 10 is the right game modes to play. Right now, it seems to be hardpoint and domination and making sure that you're voting for the smallest maps that you see in the map pool. Of course, take that first run through of each map as you see fit, but once you find the maps that you like, especially the smaller ones that'll increase your score per minute, those are the ones that you want to vote for. The reason why domination and hardpoint is because it keeps your objective score high and makes it very easy to either hop on a flag or hop on a hardpoint. Also, the spawns stay relatively consistent, especially on domination, but even on hardpoint as you're learning the spawns for the different hills. The spawns will end up being very readable, and that's something that you can use to your advantage as you're playing the game, leveling up, hopping on the objective, so on and so forth. And speaking of objective play, you'll want to stay tuned for my tip number 1, which has been most important for leveling up so far, but we'll get to that by the end of the video. My second tip though, tip number 9, is that your double XP tokens actually carried forward. A lot of people don't know, if you're here in the main menu and just press L3, this window pops up that has all your double XP tokens, your double weapon XP tokens, and then later on your battle pass tokens, which you can use once the battle pass drops. But some people don't even know this carries forward, and look, I have 134 hours of double XP that I can just activate to level up whenever I feel like. So make sure that you're using these as often as you can. So again, just next time you're in the main menu for Black Ops 7, make sure you double check these. And if you have like way too many like I do, just go ahead and pop a ton of them. Tip number 8 is going to be the decoys. On the account that we're using to get Master Prestige, this is actually our permanent unlock token that we used, these decoys. You want to throw these as often as possible because as long as somebody gets taken out within the range of the decoy, it will add XP. And that XP over time adds up, especially when you're factoring in things like double XP and some perk combinations that we'll go over in a little bit that will really wrap this whole thing together, and you'll see why at the end of the day this is the best way to gain XP in Black Ops 7. Some people are tempted to use their permanent unlock token on the MSMC. I really feel like this gun is not that good right now, so I wouldn't necessarily do that. I actually, on my main account, I used my permanent unlock token on the ninja perk just so I could play Search to Destroy and have quiet footsteps. You don't get this until like level 40 or something. But a lot of people ask what to use the permanent unlock token on, and if you're looking to level up as fast as possible, to be honest, it might end up being the decoy. And next tip number 7 that I learned as I was leveling up to first prestige is actually to use the squad link field upgrade. What this does, you literally put it down, and within a certain area, it boosts the score, and it also says that it improves the effectiveness of allied operators and gadgets that are within range. So on something like a contested hard point or like a B domination or something, the squad link is super important to put down on, because everybody that's within that area will have a minimap zoom out. The red dots that show up on the minimap will look more like VSAT red dots, where they actually have like a player triangle. You can see the direction that they're facing. Here's the important part too. If you go into the overclocks, there's 2 of them. One of them is an expanded area of effect. There's a bigger range that the squad link will be more beneficial, but there's also an overclock called command relay that doubles the score that you earned from your squad link. So pair this with, like we said, the decoy, the double XP, whatever it may be. If you're chaining a bunch of these things together, this literally doubles the score that you earn from your squad link. So this is incredibly important to keep in mind, especially as you're ranking up. And while we're on the topic of overclocks, that brings me to my tip number 6, is to make sure that you're actually looking into the overclocks of every single part of the game. I mean, field upgrades, tacticals, lethals, even score streaks. We'll talk about score streaks here in a little bit, but if you go into like the UAVs, you can reduce the cost of the UAV that you get, which means that you're going to be calling them in more frequently, which means that you'll get more assists from them. Again, we're going to talk over score streaks and the optimal score streak build in a little bit, but for now, everything overclock is something to be constantly checking, constantly seeing what you can add to each class to improve it. Even on the decoys, which we talked about earlier, you can extend the duration of the decoy grenade, or the other one is to make sure that it's only footstep audio. Probably for the purposes of gaining XP, I would want to extend the duration of the decoy grenade, so I'd use that one. And really quickly, up next, what we need to talk about is my 5th tip, which is going to be weapon prestige. This is something that's new to Black Ops 7, something that was not included in last year's Call of Duty. And it's very easy, especially with double weapon XP, to level up your gun all the way to max level. What you want to do is scroll over to the weapon, and then an option to press triangle will pop up, and that's when you can go in and actually go into weapon prestige. The reason that you'll want to do this, especially as you're gaining XP, is that there are specific camos you'll be able to customize camo and then scroll over to weapon prestige. The prestige 1 camo is this one here, and if you see on prestige 2, these are more camos and more challenges that you can get. You're earning XP as you unlock each attachment, as you unlock each camo for the guns. And this is way more beneficial than just leaving your gun on max level. You might have all the attachments when you do that, but you're missing out on, like I said, more attachments, more challenges, more camos that also lead to more XP and an easier way to level up. So keep a close eye on how your weapon levels are looking. The closer that you get to max level, just be ready to hit that weapon prestige. And that will really help you going forward, especially if you're somebody like me who likes to use the same 1 to 2 weapons for the most part. You'll still feel rewarded for doing so with these weapon prestiges. Tip number 4 is going to be the daily challenges. You'll want to make sure that you keep an eye on those. As you see mine right here, 25 eliminations with the Enforcer, 3 headshots with sniper rifles, a black hat field upgrade, breach 3 enemies. If you want to re-roll any of them, you can hold R2 and you can choose, I believe, one of these that you can re-roll per day. So if I don't like this one, the field upgrade, I'll just swap that, and now it's 10 kills with lethals, which is a lot easier. If it's something like, I don't know, snipers, and you don't expect to be using snipers that day, you can take that daily challenge off for something else. That being said, you want to make sure that you're doing all your daily challenges, 2500, 2500, and 2500 XP, and then once you complete all of them, it adds even more XP, making it very, very easy to continue leveling up. And we said we were going to get into it earlier. My tip number 3 is going to be score streaks. You want to be using score streaks that have a steady flow of like assist points, something that helps out the entire team. So we're talking UAV, counter UAV, and I don't have it yet on this account, but the harp, or if you wanted to keep with the low score streaks. And again, going back to the overclock tip, you want to make sure that you're going into each overclock and lowering the score cost, or if you notice people are shooting it down a ton, you can do the counter tech. Same thing for the counter UAV. And eventually, once I have the harp unlocked and overclocked as well, you can lower the score cost of that as well with overclock. So keep that in mind with these. Eventually, we'll talk about perks here in a little bit. We eventually might want to have Looper, which is the perk that allows you to continue re-earning score streaks. If you end up using Looper, you might want to go into your score streaks and choose 3 lower ones. That way you can continuously call them in over and over again. That's a strat to keep in mind for later down the road, but for now, I'm really enjoying just using UAV, counter UAV, and then, like I said, the harp as well. Going down to my final 2 tips, and the number 1 most important one, so we'll start with tip number 2. We're going to use Charge Link for perk 3. The reason that we're doing this is for the faster field upgrade charge rate. That's what this perk does. This goes back to the squad link that we were talking about earlier. You throw this down at like a centralized point and you have a lot of people around it, you're earning more score, again with the overclock for the command relay to double that score as well. These are really easy to shoot down, but if you're running the Charge Link perk, you get them a lot more frequently and you can call them in more frequently. And all of that is leading us to my number 1 tip right now, which is to use the Strategist Specialty perk. You do that by choosing 3 perks, and here's a confusing thing as well. That's a good tip. If you, let's say, want to run Tracker as your perk 3, and then you want to choose a Strategist perk as your perk greed, this does not take into effect the 3 green perks that you have chosen. If you want to get the true Strategist Specialty, I'll show you what I mean right here. So the specialty right now is showing Operative, which is half the green perks and half the blue perks. We don't want that. We want full green. The only way to do that, to get this specialty part to show up as strategist, is to make sure that your actual perk 1 slot, perk 2 slot, and perk 3 slot are all the strategist perks, the green perks. That way, if you want to use perk greed for something like Ninja or Ghost, you need to make sure that you're using it in the perk greed slot rather than the native spot of the perk, like perk 1. I hope that's making sense. But see, right now it says the specialty is the strategist because the 3 green perks are in perks 1, 2, and 3. I think it's a bug. I'm not entirely sure, but that's something to keep in mind, making sure that you have those. That way you get the full benefit of the strategist effect, which, if I didn't go over before, is increased score for objectives and sabotage. You can also deploy your equipment faster, which when we're using the decoys, you'll be able to throw those a lot quicker. Of course, the important thing for the strategist bonus is the increased score for objectives. So when you're playing domination or hardpoint, make sure that you're on the dom point, you're on the hardpoint, you're getting kills, you're capturing the objective, you're going to earn more score and more XP, helping you level up faster over time. And those right now are my 10 early game tips for Black Ops 7 as somebody who is Prestige 1. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will catch you next time at lunchtime.